Hi friends, in today's session we shall learn what is safety audit, why to do safety audit, how to do safety audit, what is the methodology for doing safety audit, what are the statutory provisions related to safety audit. All these questions we shall try to answer in today's session. As you all of you know, there are a lot of hazard potentials in mining. Mining is supposed to be one of the most hazardous peacetime profession. The exploitation of mineral has inherent potential of accidents. Despite our best efforts to prevent accidents by legislative measures, implementations of recommendations of various codes of inquiries and safety conferences, the mine accidents continue to occur. DGMS is the body who has been instrumental in circulating various recommendations, suggesting various measures, and also inspecting the mines rigorously, and even at times issuing notices also to the mine owners to conduct the mining operations in a very safe manner. Whenever we talk of safety, the question arises as to an amount of money and resources involved to ensure safety. Yes, we do agree. But then in case of accidents, there is again cost involved. When we talk of the cost of accidents, we generally determine two terms. One is the direct cost and another is indirect cost. In case of direct cost, normally what we presume is the direct cost related to the accident is the medical cost, which we shall be medical assistance, which we shall be imparting or we shall be extending to the injured person. Then compensation payment. You know, there is Worker Compensation Act, and under the Workers Compensation Act, the person who receives any injury in the course of his duty in his occupation, so he is required to be heavily compensated. Then insurance premiums are also there, that those are also to be paid in cash. So all these are, we can consider them to be the direct costs, but there is a huge amount of indirect cost involved. This indirect cost, this part of the indirect cost we normally neglect. Now this can be due to the loss of production, because whenever an accident takes place, when in our mines also at times unfortunately accidents used to take place. I worked for 27 years in Magnesium India Limited. We observed that as soon as the notice or the information of accident reaches the workers, all the people from the different sections, they stop their work and they assemble at a place. And management also wants that they should be at peace, and if they are at one place, then we can issue them the instructions jointly, and that is the benefit. But in second and third shift also there is a loss of production. So this way we have seen that at times if there is a fall of roof, say, then we have to watch the place for a few days. Of course, if the recovery work has already been taken care of, then we can afford to keep the stove or keep the place under observation. So it also results in loss of regular production which we would have from that area. Then yes, there is delay in resuming the normal operation of the mine, because when we again resume the work, we do issue instructions to be very careful, and gradually we bring that area, that production site into a normal production range. Then cost of food, shelter and transport of the persons who are involved in rescue, it is also involved. It is also a huge cost. Then expenditure on account of repairing of things. If there is a support dislodgement is there, we need to erect supports again anew. And if there is a fall of machinery, fall of any equipment, then the cost of repairs of the equipment is also involved. Then definitely there is a cost of investigation of accident also, because there could be inquiry, it may be conducted locally, or even the DGMS officials from inspectorate, they may come and inquire about the accident. So whenever they come, we have to make elaborate arrangements for the accident. So all these things are involved, and unfortunately when we lose a very experienced and very skilled person, then to replace him with a new person, we need to give him training, rigorous training and recruitment process, and all those costs are involved. In other words, if we compare the direct cost and indirect cost, we will find that the direct cost is equivalent to the tip of an iceberg. as the iceberg is very little seen above the water level, and major portion and major area is hidden under the water. So similarly, the cost of accidents is there. Indirect cost, huge amount is involved. Then again, we now try to study or try to analyze the cause of the accidents. Whenever we talk of accidents, we have seen that there are two major parts in any accident. The parts are unsafe act and unsafe condition. These are the two major contributing factors. Then when we talk of acts, it can be a combination, say omissions and conditions. Then at times stupidity, an amount of stupidity is at times involved. Then tiredness could be there if the person who is working for long hours, or maybe that in the previous night he did not have sufficient rest, so that could also result in an accident. Then distractions, this is one of the important areas which we have seen nowadays. The mobiles are a common feature, but everywhere, most of the mines where I visited, they are having a particular locker, and in that locker their mobiles are kept very safe. Then there is anxiety, inflexibility, ignorance is at times there, and then there are poor skills and fitness problems are at times there. Overconfidence and lack of training is also one of the areas which results in most of the accidents. Then operating machines without authorization or without training, this is also many times observed whenever there is outsourcing and there is contractual work. Then safety of the workplace may be endangered due to several reasons. The working conditions and work methods, if we try to discuss on that, then it could be falling objects. As you know, we are constantly trying to dig the earth. While digging the earth, we disturb the equilibrium of the earth, and this equilibrium, if disturbed, so there may be some movement either from the sides or from the roof in underground mines, and this movement of the rock, or this movement of the strata, it could be in the solid strata as well as in the dumped material, loose material also. Then there is airborne dust. Nowadays there is mechanization. In mechanized mines, it is seen that two problems are major problems are there. One is noise and another one is dust, because the quantum of work is increasing, the speed of the vehicles is also increasing, and this results in raising of dust. Lot of dust is raised into the atmosphere, and it has adverse effect on the health of the person. So use of HEMM and other machines in open cast have significantly contributed to accidents, and they are one of the major areas which need to be tackled properly for ensuring safety of any mine. Then use of explosives, yes, fly rocks is the main thing, or vibrations are also involved when we do large scale and mass scale blasting. So there are vibrations involved in that we call ground vibrations. Then at times many of the accidents are taking place due to fall of persons either on the same level or from higher level to lower level. So we are using various types of energy in mines, so these energy sources, they become hazard, they are a source of accident. So it could be electrical energy, it could be pneumatic energy, it could be hydraulic energy. Then we need to use sharp edge objects also. The blades are used, and our peaks are used, and drill bits are used. They also often cause some injury, accident, and the safety is endangered thereby. Then presence of excessive heat and humidity, this is also one of the areas wherein we have seen that many of the workplaces become unsafe. Then at times there is light radiation from welding and cutting also. There is poor visibility and glare. This is a major area, because as I told you earlier, the problem of dust, this has an adverse impact on the lighting and illumination in the mines also. If lot of dust is there, the light fixtures which we provide on the hall roads, say, or at the working place also, so on the glass of the light fixtures, lot of dust gets settled, and it is very difficult to reach up to the light source and clean it regularly or frequently. So this also has adverse impact of the illumination and due to poor visibility. At times when we talk of glare, If the source of light is not placed properly, then it itself becomes a source of danger. So if there is a glare, we also often see whenever we travel on highways, particularly in the night, many of my colleagues, I too avoid the driving on highways, particularly in night hours, because what happens, we are in a Maruti car or that sort of family vehicle. The trucks or the highway vehicles, big large trucks are there. They are also plying on the highways. So the position of their lights and the sitting posture of the person sitting in a Maruti car, it is such in alignment that the light source directly affects our light, and due to the glare we are unable to see even the vehicle which is in front of us. Then there is also an amount of fog is also involved. Most of the mines, many of the mines are situated in hilly terrain, particularly the 4 months period after the monsoon. In that period we often come across huge fog and heavy fog. Of course, they have made some fog lights and other arrangements, but then the speed is automatically reduced, or you are required to reduce the speed, otherwise it will become a great potential source of danger. Then excessive noise, as I told you earlier, due to the plying of vehicles, large vehicles, crushing of the ore, then handling of the ore, transfer points, all these things contribute to huge noise which is beyond the permissible limit. Because as you know, on and often DGMS has issued circulars regarding the statutory limits or permissible limits for noise. They say above 85 dBA there is every chance of injury to unprotected ear. So that's why we need to take care of the noise also. Now we shall try to find the relationship between reduction of accidents and safety audit. To understand the status of safety of the mine and to plan preventive measures against workplace accidents, injuries and incidents, we conduct safety audit. Now, what is safety audit? Let us try to define what is safety audit. Safety audit is an activity. Safety audit is an activity to review whether policies, regulations, and expectations are being met, or whether systems can be made more effective. Safety audit is an integrated component of risk assessment and safety management. As we all know that there is a Mines Act. Under the Mines Act, the mine owners, the mine operators are supposed to issue notice of opening give notice of opening to the inspectorate, to the chief inspector of mines. Now, at times there is a provision that if you want to work by underground methods, then you need to obtain special permission from DGMS. The DGMS does give you the permission to mine the ore, but there are certain conditions imposed. That permission is subject to some conditions. Now those conditions are very much to be followed, giving them equal status as that of statute. Now during safety audit, what we do is we try to review whether those regulations, those permissions, or what we are whatever expectations are there from us regarding the methodology of work, whether those are being met with or not, whether the systems can be made more effective. So that way we must conduct safety audit. Then why to do safety audit? It is recommendation of 9 safety conference. As you know, national safety conferences, they are periodically held. It's a tripartite forum, and in this forum there are recommendations to all the owner, agent and managers of the mine operators. So under the 9 safety conference, they had recommended safety audit to be conducted in each and every mine. Then there was circular 13 of 2002. In that circular also there was mention of safety audit. The safety audit related particular circular can be taken as circular 8 of 2009, that recommended SISSA, SYSSA, that is system study and safety audit. Then there was again circular number 2 of 2011, etc., etc. Now When to do safety audit? Why, when to conduct the safety audit? What should be the periodicity of the safety audit? So DGMS has recommended safety audit of any mine should be done at least once every year or even shorter interval. After every major accident or disaster or dangerous occurrence, we must do the safety audit. The idea behind conducting safety audit is that if a major accident has taken place, you know what is a major accident. Major accident is an accident wherein the number of fatality is more than 3 and less than 10, because 10 and above we term it as disaster. So whenever any major accident takes place in any mine, we need to conduct safety audit, because the occurrence of major accident itself is an indication that something more needs to be done. Already you may be adopting several safety practices, but whenever, in spite of adopting all these safe practices, having all the safe operating procedures, having skilled personnel, if unfortunately a major accident takes place, then it is right and it is wise to review the safety status of the mine. So as you know, in safety audit, what we do is we do the safety audit of the entire mine. People are often confused that in case of major accident, if we are required to conduct safety audit, then are we supposed to concentrate only on the reasons which resulted in major accidents? No. So whenever we are required to conduct safety audit after a major accident, it implies safety audit of the entire mine. We don't want any further major accidents in that mine, in any area, in any section, or in any activity. So that way, please remember, whenever we say once in a year is okay. If nothing has happened and all the things are going smoothly, still we should conduct the safety audit once at least every year, because an amount of lethargy may crop up. So to deal away with that, we must conduct the safety audit at least once every year. Then second part is after major accident. So if major accident has taken place in our mine in some area, then there is likelihood of such an accident in other areas also. So it is advised to conduct safety audit of the entire mine. Then third thing or third reason for conducting safety audit is, at times we adopt new equipment, new machinery, new technology, or some new system, because looking to the demand of the ore, or it may be due to the availability of new technology, we may be tempted, or the mine operator may be tempted to use some new technology or new equipment. So whenever such situation arises, again you need to conduct the safety audit of the mine. Who should conduct safety audit? Now the question arises, safety audit is to be conducted. What is safety audit? We knew. Now who will conduct the safety audit? So they say both internal as well as external safety audit teams can conduct the safety audit. There is no hard and fast rule. Now, as the coal mines regulation was issued, made effective from 27th November of 2017, you will not find a word like safety audit in the entire coal mines regulation. So these are all promotional measures which are recommended by way of the circular, and they are integral part of the safety management system and risk assessment. So there is no need to mention about safety audit, but without safety audit, it is very difficult to do risk assessment of any mine and to formulate risk management plan. So both internal and external safety audit teams should be involved for conducting the safety audit. Now who should be the team member? So while conducting safety audit, we need to consider all the aspects, and we cannot afford to neglect any aspect which could lead to, or which could result in jeopardize our attempt to have a total safety, 100% safety. So that's why the team should comprise of eminent persons from various fields of operation. So DGMS advises that single person conducting a safety audit should be avoided, because in a large mine now these systems become complex. So in such situation, it would be difficult for a single person to conduct safety audit of a particular mine. So that's why it should be a safety audit team. You can have mechanical engineer in that, you can have electrical engineer in that, you must have mining engineer in that, you can have surveyor, you can have safety officer, and all these persons can uh, form a team and they will conduct site inspections and they will put their report in a concise manner, documented manner. They are also recommended that one of the inspecting officers from the every discipline from DGMS should be involved in such system study and safety audit. Now, when we talk of involvement, we already know that DGMS is short of inspecting officers. If you read the standard note, which is every year circulated by DGMS, we often find there is an anomaly, the requirement of the inspectors and in position. So there is a lot of difference. So 25-30% inspectors are less than required in DGMS. So we cannot expect the inspecting authority to come with us and inspect the mine during safety audit, but he can be involved. Whenever you prepare a draft report, whenever you are having a preliminary meeting, or whenever you are having brainstorming on a particular serious matter, so you can very much inform them and they can attend that meeting and they can contribute. So this way it is recommended that one of the inspecting officials from DGMS should also be involved in the process. Now, how to conduct safety audit? While conducting safety audit, site inspection and comparing the work procedures with that of the statutory framework and with other conditions as per the permission letter. Now, I am reminded of a system in our mines which we used to adopt. You all know we celebrate the safety week, annual safety week. So during the safety week there are a lot of competitions and everybody is very enthusiastic. What we used to do is we used to print the relevant part of the permission letters and we used to hand over the printed copies, hard copies, to the concerned supervisors and used to advise them that in your section the entire work should be as per these the conditions of this permission letter. So if you do that, then 100% marks were guaranteed and we have won the first award several times for our mines. So this is known as the comparison with the work procedure, actual work and the conditions of the permission letter or statutory. So now this is one of the important part of safety audit, conducting safety audit. Then this while conducting the safety audit, when we form the teams can be given different areas, say subject wise, resulting in an integrated report of the mine incorporating all subjects. So we cannot afford to neglect any area. So mining should also be covered in that, mechanical discipline should also come, electrical area should also be covered, personal department should also be covered, there should be occupational health and hygiene, so that is also very important. So while conducting safety audit, we should visit each and every corner of the mines, each and every department of the mine, and try to compare the existing status of the work status there and with the what is expected from us to be done. So that way this methodology of safety audit can be continued. Then what we do is we compile a preliminary data of the mine. For each mine, safety audit report has to be prepared. Now this safety audit report, after preparing the report, it is to be presented in the tripartite forum. Then there could be discussion, tripartite forum at mine level. In a tripartite forum at mine level, there are workers representatives, there are management representatives, and there are the concerned DGMS official. They are also a part of tripartite forum at a mine level. So this safety audit report is to be presented to the tripartite forum. Then questions will be asked whether you have covered all the areas or not, and after brainstorming and after due diligence, that report is finalized. So while preparing this report, we do compile the preliminary, say name of the mine, name and address of the mine, and all mining plan approval details, nominated owner, agent, mine manager, safety officer, and details of the working ore body or coal seam, then inclination of the ore body, total leasehold area, geological reserves, direction, amount of plunge, ore quality, year of opening, etc. These data, then target of the year is also considered, average daily employment is also considered, mine opening RL, and all these things, this preliminary data is to be considered and to be incorporated in our safety audit report. Now basically the team which is going to conduct safety audit, if it has not prepared a checklist, so it is very difficult to conduct safety audit. So Advanced checklist for conducting safety audit is an integral component of safety audit. Now, this checklist can be prepared according to the local conditions and requirements of the field. So there is no particular set format for a checklist, but the checklist can be modified and it can be according to the conditions. In this checklist, we can ask a question. It is a sort of questionnaire, and we can have three columns. In the three columns, it could be yes, no, not applicable. Say for example, whether company safety policy has been formulated, whether various DGMS permissions under MMR CMR obtained, whether any contraventions pointed out during the mine inspection, action has been taken and taken report has been submitted to them or not, whether various statutory permissions obtained, because other than DGMS also we need to consider the explosive control of explosives. So whether those permissions have been obtained, then there is pollution control board also, MOEF is also there. So whether all these statutory bodies have been duly informed and the provisions according to the concerned statute are being implemented or not, that is also to be verified. Then another important area is whether any scientific study has been done. Now DGMS is insisting on getting the scientific study done for pit slope stability, for waste rock slope stability, and in case of blasting also, to decide the charge per delay, charge per round, etc. We need to get it scientifically calculated. So we, during safety audit, we must inquire whether such scientific study has been conducted or not. Then, as you know, the recommendations of the latest safety conferences. Now in our case it will be 10th and 11th safety conferences. Recommendations of this 10th and 11th safety conferences are very relevant. The mine operators are required to periodically submit the status of implementation of the recommendations of 11th safety conference to DGMS. So now that is the safety audit team is supposed to consider that also, and wherever there is lacuna, the provisions or the recommendations that have not been complied with, so you need to assess what sort of risk is going to be imposed due to the non-compliance of such thing. Then whether accident statistics is being maintained or not, then whether there is near miss record maintained or not. So this is also a part of the checklist, part of the questionnaire. Then whether safety committee has been constituted or not, whether the safety committee is holding regularly meetings or not, whether their recommendations are being implemented or not, that is also to be verified during the safety audit. Then it is workman's inspector. As all of you know, workman's inspector, he is the representative on behalf of the workmen to inspect the mines and to ensure safety of the mine, and to ensure the work to be complied with by duly complying the statutory provisions. So whether the workmen inspectors have been appointed or not, whether they have been trained or not, whether they are conducting regular inspections or not, whether they are submitting their report in Form U or not, then whether those reports are being discussed in the safety committee meeting, whether duly action is being taken on those reports or not, all these factors must be included in the safety audit report. Then whether required instrumentation for strata monitoring is provided and records thereof maintained or not, because in case of underground mines we need to have a strata control monitoring this thing, and in case of open cast mines nowadays DGMS has recommended slope stability radar also for big mines to ensure the pit slope stability and waste dump stability also. So this sort of instrumentation is also to be verified, is also to be included in a safety audit report. Then in case of underground, whether a support plan has been prepared or not, and whether the systematic support rule has been framed according to the support plan or not. Whether for open cast mines it will be traffic rules, whether traffic rules have been framed by the manager or not, whether various SOPs, COPs have been framed and whether they are being observed or not, whether all the vehicles are being regularly inspected and inspection and test records thereof properly maintained or not. Means that way the checklist is a very exhaustive checklist, but without a checklist it will be very difficult to conduct safety audit of any mine. Now when we go in a safety audit as a team, so you can distribute the related portion of the checklist to, now mechanical person can be given the vehicle part, surveying person can be given the survey part, mining person can keep his blasting etc, all that part. So that way we can make the thing easier also. So but checklist is a must, and documentation of the checklist is very important. Then occupational health is one of the important areas. We must include the medical officer, occupational health in charge in the safety audit team, whether IME, PME is being regularly conducted or not. Then in case of explosives, we need to consider whether the explosive magazine license is valid or not, because it is to be periodically renewed. Survey section, whether required plans and sections have been prepared and they are regularly being updated or not. And in case of survey instruments, that is very important. Nowadays total station is regularly used, calibration is being done or not. Most of the mines are using the laser scanner also. So calibration is one of the important areas that is also to be considered during the safety audit. Then whether proper mine organization is there, engineering organization is there, safety organization is there, training organization is there or not, environmental sale is there or not, all these things are also to be considered during safety audit. Then emergency preparedness, emergency plan, whether emergency plan has been prepared or not, whether the mock rehearsal of the emergency plan is being regularly conducted or not, then whether all the statutory records are being properly maintained or not, whether form K, as you know, the minor injury register, then form J is reportable injury register, then form 4A, whenever any serious accident or fatal accident takes place, we have to submit the notice in form 4A. Then within a week you have to submit form 4B, and if accidents occurred in the etc, that is whether it is being maintained or not. And as you know, form C is also to be submitted when the injured person returns to work. Then fire safety needs to be a given special consideration. So whether firefighting plan has been prepared or not, whether in the mine there is the firefighting organization or not. And then nowadays this lighting, illumination, it has become very important. The standard of lighting, standard of illumination has to be up to the standard. The reason being, in most of the mines, most of the mechanized mines, there have been incidents of accidents during the second shift and during the night shift, means after the daylight hours, because the machines are very big. The driver's cabin is at a very higher elevation, so it is very difficult for him to have the complete vision of the area. So that's why the illumination standard has to be as per the gazette notification. Second thing which the DGMS might have thought is, now there are LED lights. There is a great advancement in the lighting fixtures and lighting technology. So LED lights are very much available, and you can very much have the standard of illumination without much efforts, provided you are inclined or you are bent upon improving the standard of illumination in your mines. So that lighting plan, preparation of lighting plan, conducting illumination survey regularly, and to compiling the data, the illumination standard of illumination required, the present standard of illumination available, and what we are going to plan for the future to improve or to attain the desired level of illumination. All those things are to be considered while conducting safety audit. During safety audit, you should also give due weightage whether the mine has been awarded any safety awards, because many of the mines, they have received the national safety awards for longest injury frequency rate, or many other criteria are there. So if the mine has received a national safety award, so that should also be reflected. Then at times you can also mention about the annual safety week awards. if the minus, because it reflects the awareness part, it reflects the culture of the mind, whether they are doing adequate publicity and propaganda or not. So that needs to be considered. Then after conducting the above mentioned system study and safety audit, a chapter wise report should be prepared. So in that chapter wise report, you can first start with the introduction of the mine, then you can go for the geology of the mine, then mine workings, then environment, pumping, power supply, plans and sections, then vocational training can also be included, welfare amenities. There should be, must be a chapter related to safety management. In this safety management chapter, normally you are supposed to include the establishment of safety committee, and then about the meetings that are being conducted in a safety committee, and the implementation status of the recommendations of safety committee. Then you can also include in the safety management part the appointment of workmen's inspectors and the training part and all that. So this can also be, this is to be covered in the safety management area. Then precautions against inundations, this is very very important. Fire safety, inundation, slope stability, these three are major areas. And nowadays it is the vehicle movement or transportation machinery in particular, a lot of accidents are taking place due to transportation machinery. So there should be a chapter, it may be titled as engineering safety, or it may be transportation, it depends on the audit team how they decide. Then there should be accident statistics and prevention. So at least last 5 years, previous 5 years accident data should be considered. This accident data is or acts as a pointer for the safety audit team to pinpoint particular areas, because if a similar type of accident is repeatedly occurring, then the measures being adopted at present are not adequate. So something more needs to be done. So that, and another thing is the accident reduction in the incidence of accident is a pointer that the safety status is gradually improving in the mine. Then you should incorporate the statutory inspections part, means whatever the DGMS has pointed out the contraventions, whether action has been taken or not, and also about the recommendations of the national safety conferences. So what is the status of implementation? Lastly, the safety audit team should give their recommendations. You can take it as an executive summary also, but the safety audit team needs to give a concise report which will be viewed by the top executives of the company, top boss of the company. Then you should certainly add as annexures, it may be photos when you inspect the mines, or it may be certain things which you find to be unsafe, so those photos can also be included. Then last say 3 months safety committee minutes meeting should also be as annexure to substantiate that yes, regularly meetings are being conducted. Then workmen inspectors report, a sample report can also be. Then lighting plan and the illumination survey report, latest survey report can be as an annexure. Noise survey, whether it is being conducted or not. This system study and safety audit report, this should be discussed in a tripartite forum at mine level, area level, and also at the company level. After finalization in the company, report should be submitted to DGMS for information and suggestion. And then the most important part is the action taken report should also be prepared and submitted to the company as well as to DGMS, including the trade unions having major or prominent representation in the mine. So this way, after conducting the safety audit, you get an overall view of the safety status of the mine, because as we saw earlier that safety audit is an integral part of risk assessment and preparation of safety management plan, because during the safety audit, when we compare the status of the mine with the what is expected or statutory expected, or maybe on the basis of the conditions that have been imposed by the DGMS, so while comparing these two, we find that there have been certain lacunas. Now these lacunas, they become a source of hazard or a risk or potential source of accident. Now this safety audit report should pinpoint those areas wherever the statutory part has not been covered as per the desired standards. So this way, after completing the safety audit, the risk assessment, risk management and preparation of safety management plan, all other steps are a further step ahead in the management of in the safety management system in a mine. Thank you.